Hello everyone, I want to show you guys the new Poleaxe. So this is similar to one that I did like, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago. That one was purchased by a friend of mine. I don't charge a lot for these. I mean, especially the ones with the blades. I think I just gave it to him for $200. And mainly the reason why I gave it to him is because first of all, he really liked it. And second of all, um, I like building these, and eventually I'm going to run out of space. So I kind of have to get rid of them in order to make space for new ones to build. Okay, and basically the ones that I sell basically finance the new ones. So yeah, that's the only reason why I got rid of it. So yeah, I built another one. This one's a little bit more curvy. Um, I did reuse the shaft from one of my earlier Poleaxes with basically the head was nice when I did it, but I've kind of outgrown it. So I took the head off of that and put it on this one. So that's part of the reason why I gave that one away for $200, and I'm probably going to put this one up for $200. I'm going to sell this in one of the local antique shops because I'm in like a touristy area. So there's a bunch of antique shops around here, so cuts down on the shipping and all that stuff. But yeah, I kind of like the curve that I did with this. Has a nice curve. Balance is almost near the center, right? And that's because of this taper that I got over here. It's tapered this way and this way, so that reduces some of the weight from the head. Now obviously this one is not balanced on its y-axis. I mean, this one is blade heavy. The blade is pretty thin, right, because this is a fighting axe. It's not a wood chopping axe. But I think I got at least 1/8 in there after I finished working it and blacksmithing it. So it's really fast. You can recover this. So the way I would use this, let's say in combat, basically you use the hook to pull people off of horses, right? That's how you use the hook. And then once they're on the ground, you stab them with the spike. Okay. The axe is basically only for really hitting unarmored people, right? And if you get into once we get into like the 16th, 17th century, people have less and less armor because there's more and more firearms on the battlefield. So the axe is useful for that. But another use for the axe, it's a really good way to take down a horse, right? Especially if it's unarmored, right? If we see this in the Bayeux Tapestry, where horses are being attacked with great axes, right? In the in the 11th century. Because here's the thing: if you try to stab a horse, it's a big animal. You're not gonna stop it. You're gonna probably piss it off, and it's probably just gonna run you over. But if it's not armored, if it doesn't have any armor on its head, and you put the axe into into its skull, that's going to probably stop the horse. So we see this in the Bayeux Tapestry. So that's one of the cool features about having an axe on your polearm. It's got an end cap here. This is about 1/8 of an inch of steel. It extends all the way down to here, right? So you can smash like this. You can also smash like this, right? Because this comes all the way to the edge over here. Same thing over here, where it's tapered. There's about 1/8 of an inch of steel that comes all the way to the edge. So if somebody is in plate armor, I would basically, if they're on the ground, I would hit them with this section over here, not with the axe blade. That's not going to do anything against plate armor. I would basically, ideally, I try to get a concussive hit on their head to stun them long enough to try to get the tip into a gap, okay, into an armpit, or under the neck, or into an eye slot or something like that. So there's oak wood, and it's got full length langets. It's about 1/8 of an inch of steel from here. Where does it go? Actually, from here all the way up to here. All right, and then from here down, it's about a 1/16 until you get to this section over here with the end cap. So the weight on this, how much it weighs, I measured it at about 68 inches long. The weight came in at 5 pounds, 15.7 ounces, really close to 6 pounds. So I'm just going to say this is 6 pounds. So that's not terrible for a two-handed weapon, especially the one that's balanced near the center, right? That's not like top heavy, that you can swing and recover, come around to the other side, you know, use the tail, come around, especially if you choke up on it a little bit like this, then it becomes really nimble. Okay, so so this one I'm probably going to put up for about 200. I don't know, maybe by tomorrow it'll be 250. Let's see. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm just trying to make space for new stuff I want to build. This one I showed you guys in the last video I did. I really like this one. The only thing I did here is I actually put an edge on this. And again, because it's going into an antique shop geared towards touristy people like seeing sharp edges and pointy tops. So I put a tip on this, and actually by putting that tip, it actually became even more nimble, just because there's a tiny little bit less weight on the end over there. So again, this is also pretty much center balanced. But the nice thing about this design here is it's also balanced on its y-axis. So you can flip it around from one side to the other one. So this one over here, it's got axe blade on this side. So again, that's for unarmored people, or if you're trying to attack a horse on the head. Okay. This section over here is basically great for trapping. It's kind of like the cross guards on a rapier or the keons on a rapier. So you can basically trap with this area over here, or hook. So that's a nice feature of this. So for armor, basically the prong hammer here is really nice, especially on the helmet, because I've tested this on steel barrels. You know, whereas the axe blade wants to glance on something round, the prong hammer really wants to kind of like stick in, bite, and transfer force. And the same design here. This section of langet here goes all the way to the edge. So this is a hitting surface from here to here. There's an 1/8 of an inch of steel on each side. So basically there's like a 1/4 inch of steel here. I mean, that's more steel than a greatsword, you know, a greatsword blade, okay? So there's this is a lot of good steel for hitting somebody in plate armor. Hit them on the head with this. That's going to concuss them pretty good. You got the tip here for basically thrusting into gaps. You know, you could also kind of, you know, I mean, it doesn't have a hook like this one, but you can kind of use this section here as a hook to pull people, especially like off of horses or something. Same deal here. I got the end cap. This one I went a little bit lighter on the end, so I didn't extend it all the way up. So with this, you're primarily jabbing with that end over there. So let's weigh this one over here. See what's going on. I think this one is actually. Well, let's see what this one is. Yeah. So the weird thing is, this one's actually a little bit lighter. This one came in at 5 pounds, 12 ounces. 5 pounds, 12 ounces. And it's lighter and it's longer, because this one has 1/8 of an inch of steel all the way down to here. This whole section over here on each side. Okay, so you got this section over here is a little bit stronger, reinforced. Whereas with this one, it's got about 1/8 of an inch on each side from here to there, and then from there down it goes 1/16. So it's got a thinner reinforcement down here. Still pretty solid. I'm gravitating towards making, like on some of the later ones I've made, because again, this shaft was also repurposed. I'm gravitating towards making the whole thing 1/8 all the way down. The reason is when you're working with 1/16, which is a lot thinner, it wants to it's kind of like working with a ribbon, and you have to keep working it and trying to straighten it out and, you know, putting your rivets in. So it just ends up being a lot more work than if I just go 1/8 all the way down. So that's what I've done with some of the later poleaxes that I have made. So I really like this design. This is, I think, my favorite design. This is from a design I copied from the Wallace collection, number A925. So like I said, I'm also going to put this one up at one of the local antique shops. This one I'm going to put up for $300. I mean, I'm sure if I wait long enough, maybe you'll get more, but I really don't care. I just want to, like I said, I want to cycle this out so I can get on with building the next one. Okay, so anyway, drop some comments. Let me know how you like these poleaxes. I'll talk to you all soon. Oh, and I did cover in my last video why this, by our modern definition, is actually a poleaxe and not a halberd, even though it's kind of like halberd shaped. It's because this is riveted together, and that's, you know, poleaxes are riveted together. The head is a two-piece section. Halberd, by our modern definition, the two pieces are forge welded together so that they become one piece. So with a halberd, you can't separate the two, whereas with this one, if I wanted to separate, I can pull the rivets out and disassemble it. I tend to like the Poleaxe design better with the rivets because this section here ends up being a lot stronger, right? And I did some testing, some destruction testing with some of my early prototypes, like last year, and I found that this is a much stronger design, especially when it's like almost straight instead of like coming out and, like, you know, on some of them you have legs that come out and it kind of forms a square here, and it go, if they're straight like this, that's a really strong design. So if it hits over here, it doesn't, you know, basically it has no trouble, because with the thinner ones, on some thinner ones that I kind of tested, if I made them thin enough, it would kind of buckle in this section here. This one can't because there's like almost a 1/4 inch of steel on each side. Same deal on this one. So same as you can see here, I favor the design where it comes down almost straight. You don't see like a shoulder that comes out into like a square, because straight is basically stronger. So it comes straight down, you know, without forming, you know, and it's like really, really strong in this section over here. And you got like basically a 1/4 inch of steel on each side on the langets in this section over here. It's actually, this section here is about a 1/4 inch of steel. Down here, it thins out a little bit because I don't need it to be that strong down here, right? Because over here it doubles up, because these langets here come up and they basically socket into the head a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch. So this section down here is really strong. So I just wanted to make sure that this section here was strong. So people can take this and they can beat this up. And, you know, I mean, although I'm probably going to put a note that this is for chopping people, not for chopping wood. Okay, you know, wood chopping axes are usually a lot thicker. They got much thicker heads, whereas fighting axes, they have much thinner heads, because, you know, they need to be faster. Speed is more important. You know, you need to be able to attack, recover. You want that range. So fighting axes are typically much thinner. So yeah, drop some comments. Let me know how you like these. Talk to y'all soon.